Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews and yet another episode of Rifle and Pistol Pairings. This one is a little bit different than some of the other ones. This one has a lot of more modern firearms in it and nothing that's really historically significant. But this is episode 8 of this series, and what I have in this particular episode is my Bear Creek Arsenal AR 22 Winchester Magnum on an Arrow lower and a Ruger LCR in 22 Magnum. And I picked these two together because, again, they're very modern firearms. And even though typically, I don't know if I'd carry a revolver when I'm out in the field with a modern sporting rifle type firearm, but in this particular case, because they're the same caliber, it kind of makes sense to carry the two of them together. Now, I have some history with this Bear Creek Arsenal upper. I had some issues with it when I first got it because I originally ran it on a rifle length lower, which had a rifle length buffer tube, and that caused the bolt to over travel and actually damage the charging handle. So shortly after that, I bought a black Aero Precision lower that I put together specifically for this, but that one had an enhanced trigger group, which is a slightly lighter spring for the hammer and the trigger to make it easier to shoot, and that caused some misfiring with this gun as well. So I ended up using that lower for one of my other rifles. I think it was probably my 7.62x39 Bear Creek Arsenal upper, and I recently purchased another Aero Precision lower, this time in FDE, and put this entire gun together. So this has been a rather expensive undertaking to this point. That's better. So, as I said, Black Dog Machine magazines with some 22 Magnum. I think this is CCI Maxi Mag, and I'm just going to plink a little bit. In there. Whoops. I guess these magazines need you to really firmly seat them. So you can see this is the second configuration I had, and this one had that enhanced trigger group in it, and most of the time it functioned okay, but there were a few times where the hammer dropped and the rounds didn't go off because I don't think the hammer spring had quite enough force to make it go off. The pistol, again, is my Ruger LCR in 22 Winchester Magnum, and LCR stands for Lightweight Compact Revolver. This is a great gun you can carry in your coat pocket, you can carry it in your pants pocket, or in a holster on your hip. And I have some aluminum 5-star speed loaders that I've bought for this. They work out really well. They're extremely well made, and I have that nice little bench block so you can have two of them at the ready when you're at the range, already preloaded, and you can quickly load this thing. It's not a super long trigger pull before the firing pin or the hammer drops. So for me, it still just surprises me when I'm shooting it. But I really like this thing a lot, and I am getting better at shooting it. So I tend to pull it a little bit on the high side most of the time. Right now, I guess it's kind of hit or miss if I'm pulling high or low because I'm shooting it kind of fast. But again, so far I haven't missed that, what is it, a 7-inch or 6-inch center. I think it's 7-inch since I started doing this. So again, for me, 20 feet, trying to hit a 7-inch center. With this little thing, I mean, the sight radius is probably, I don't know, 3 inches or something like that, and this one does have the front sight painted white, so that helps. But I'm just realizing that it's not the gun's fault, it's my fault, so I just need to take my time and shoot better. And because the LCR has such a short barrel, you get some really nice fireballs out of it. So this one I probably put together more because it's the same caliber than anything else. But using a 22 Winchester Magnum AR upper and a lightweight compact revolver together as a pair is a great choice. The AR shoots pretty well. I've taken it out to only about 50 yards at this point because I had so many issues with it. And again, I'm using Black Dog machine magazines. They work out pretty well. That's what Bear Creek recommends for it, and they function fine. I have noticed that it works better if you hold the bolt to the rear and load the magazine in and then drop the bolt rather than trying to shove the magazine and then rack the bolt. You saw that earlier in the video. Sometimes this thing doesn't like to necessarily load the first round when you do it that way, but I think it's just because the design, the top of the magazine is a very small feed area versus what you'd have with a normal rifle that has a larger feed area for a larger cartridge. I have been slowly making additional improvements to this rifle as time goes on, and again, I probably spent more on this project than I really needed to. You can see here on the muzzle, one thing it has right now, instead of the muzzle brake that it had in the original videos, I just have a thread protector on there, and that's because the original muzzle brake that Bear Creek puts on these, which is on the right in this image, they're functional enough, but I really don't like the look of them that much, so I was going to put this A2 style birdcage flash hider on there, but I decided to order one that's more specific to a 22 long rifle. That's a very small, short one, so that'll be coming in a week or so, and I'll do an update at that particular point in time. But thanks again for watching another episode of Cranky Gun Reviews. I will have another video on this rifle coming out pretty soon because I have done quite a few upgrades to it that I think are at least worth putting in a video for fun's sake. But thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless America. Support your 2A rights. Get out there and shoot. And you remember, if someone asks you to give up some of your freedom for the greater good, you remind them that freedom is the greater good.